Hey, this is Aaron from GameEnthus.com doing a preview for Our Family Plays Games. The game I'm previewing is WarBonds, Battle for Vitoria, published by Punk This Games, who also sponsored this video. WarBonds Battle for Vitoria was designed by Jonny Juste, with art from Jason Badower, Winchus Gibson, and Raphael Mobilize. It's playable from 2 to 5 players, plays in about 60 to 80 minutes, and is for players 14 and up.
WarBonds, Battle for Vitoria is a strategy war game where players deploy and mobilize a medieval fantasy army in an effort to reign supreme amidst the war-torn lands of Vitoria.
Each player starts off with a warlord and attempts to gain control using their weapons and their wit. I probably should have said wits because you're going to need more than one. Yeah.
Each warlord is vying for control and ideological dominance. To achieve victory, a player must satisfy any one of the various win conditions. Keep in mind, there is no randomness. Players must outthink their opponents to achieve victory.
Just seeing images for WarBonds Battle for Vitoria doesn't quite suffice. I'm going to give you an overview of how it plays. So there are a decent number of moving parts in WarBonds Battle for Vitoria. Let me just kind of walk you through what each player would start off with. Each player would start off with their own player guide. We'll be playing the apprentice level, so everybody would get their own apprentice player guide. And everybody would start off with an abilities card and a turn card. I just put out these other two just to kind of show you what's on the other side. After the cajoling, name calling, and hand wringing of establishing the player turn order has concluded, every player will get their relevant player pieces. These are the other colors that are available: red, green, yellow, and purple. Then in turn order, each player would then select one warlord and take the 2 pieces that go along with that specific warlord. You have Tangus the Unchained, Maestro Sarah Carthage, Anna, Xanda Soul Judiciary, Scarred Rufus the Red, and Vagabond Golyar Alebreath. That's quite the name. Each warlord has specific stats in terms of their attack ranges, health, initiative, movement speed, etc. Okay, turn order has been established. Now it's time to start populating the main board here. So in turn order, each player would take their player marker and they would take the encampment side, which is the side with the tents, and they would place it on the board at least 2 spaces away from a wild space. These are all wild spaces. Based on the player count, you are supposed to cover up some of the extra wild spaces with some of these tiles, but at least 7 spaces away from another player's encampment. Player 1 placed their encampment here. I keep saying the word encampment. What I really mean to say is war camp. These are war camps. These aren't just regular camps. They're war camps. So after you placed your war camp in a legal space, adjacency and spacing is orthogonal. One of your tokens representing your actual warlord and the one that has the movement speed icon in the lower left corner, and place that on top. And players 2 and 3 would follow in suit. This is the initiative table. The initiative table would really never go on top of the main board. I'm just doing that here because of spacing. So just bear that in mind. Normally you have this off to the side. I thought it was better to kind of have it centered here, but normally would not go on top of the main board. Anyway, this is the initiative table. And what you would do is you would take your other warlord icon and place it onto the initiative where it would go. So Sarah has a 5, so I would place the 5 right there. The game also comes with stands if you want to do things vertically. We're doing things horizontally around here. Also, because the camera is above, it just makes sense to do it horizontally, but you do have options. Victory in WarBonds Battle for Vitoria can be achieved in one of 3 ways. If you are the last player with a surviving warlord and war camp, you win. If your war camp or your warlord are dead, you also lose. Another winning condition is if you gain a level 3 war camp. Lastly, if the dragon arrives when it reaches the end of game event, whoever has the largest army size wins the game. How WarBonds really works is you are working your way through the initiative table and taking actions with each warlord and unit that they actually put out. And more about that is there are a plethora of units that can be deployed with a wide variety of different types and alignments. So you see of chaos, law, neutral evil, neutral chaos, good. There's a lot there. So there's a dueling table, and you can follow the actual steps. So you check for interruptions. Interruptions are things that maybe you don't want a certain unit to get attacked. You can interrupt and take that attack on yourself instead of the unit that the attack was intended for. And check for interruption. The first warlord attack, second warlord attack, check for more interruptions. First warlord and the duel. You've also have an option of ending the duel if you don't want to continue on. And then you can just conditions for losing the duel, starting a new round of dueling, so on and so forth. So you follow the board and take it to the steps of a duel. There are rules to the game. Like everything else, there's rules. There's norms that we all, accept. And so as the game continues on, these columns are going to be full of other units. Maybe somebody deploys, a player 2 deploys the Begotten Witches. So they have the Begotten Witches who are chaos evil, but since player 2, Anazandria, is neutral, that's okay. That's completely okay. And there is a cost to deploying a unit, especially one that does not line up with you. I believe it's going to cost you loyalty and reserves in order to deploy that unit. So she's only able to move 2, say she moved there, and then you can deploy the actual unit onto the wild space. The Begotten Witches would be deployed there, and then they also have a initiative of 4, so they would go onto the initiative table there. And let's say player 3 wanted to, they would move 4 spaces. So 1, 2, 3. And then they wanted to, they could deploy, oops, should move the whole thing. Actually, the war camp's going to stay there. The warlord is just going to move. My mistake. Then the unit could actually be deployed on the wild space. I'd also be remiss if I just didn't show what it looked like when 2 of these things just crashed into each other, and what happens before a duel, but sped up and much more ridiculous than it needs to be. You get the idea. Players are going to be making a lot of nuanced decisions to influence the public and get units on their side. They're units that can be deployed, which will begin on your side, but those units, if they're lacking loyalty, can easily be persuaded to aligning with someone else and coming back and attacking you. WarBonds is equal parts weapons and attacking power, movement speed, and things like that. But it's also about loyalty and leadership. So that is sort of the tip of the iceberg for the many things offered in WarBonds Battle for Vitoria, which once again comes out on Kickstarter. WarBonds is a very fun and thinky war game. But don't take my word for it. Check it out for yourself if you think you, your family, or your gaming group or groups might enjoy it. There'll be a link in the description below this video where you can find out more information about WarBonds and its Kickstarter campaign. If you wish to see more of me, you can find me on OFPG Voices. I'm a regular contributor there. You can also find me at GameEnthus.com or YouTube.com/GameEnthus. Thank you for watching. Take care, stay safe, and be blessed.